Hello, everyone. In the past couple of years, whenever people talk about Canada, the first things that come to mind are high housing prices and rents, intense inflation, legal cannabis, a surge of temporary residents and refugees, a lot of homeless people, and worsening public safety. Criticizing Canada has almost become a kind of political correctness and a viral traffic code. Canada indeed has its own problems, like bureaucratic inefficiencies causing a lack of new housing, overly aggressive short-term immigration and refugee policies, and overly loose monetary policies during the pandemic. With all these favorable policies combined, it's hard not to expect housing prices to rise and real estate speculators to go crazy. Moreover, the overly left-leaning political stance tends to stifle economic growth, leading to reduced income, increased unemployment, and rising prices, making it seem hard to see any hope. But that's how democracy works, slowly making small corrections through inefficient swings between the left and the right. When tax rates are low, the economy grows, incomes rise, and the wealth gap widens. People vote the Liberal Party into power to raise taxes, work less, rest more, and give more subsidies to the poor. When the economy is in recession and incomes are low, people vote the Conservative Party into power to lower taxes, work more, and rest less. But throughout the process, Canadian society's moral, legal, and cultural standards continue to advance steadily. In the last 10 months I've been here, I've noticed that Canadians don't seem to place too much importance on economic growth. For them, what matters is living comfortably and peacefully. Whether they have a lot of money or not seems not a major concern. And they seem to understand that to live comfortably and peacefully is not enough for just themselves to be well off. Everyone needs to be taken care of. This includes legal, financial, health, and transportation security. With all these basics covered, a positive atmosphere where people help each other can truly flourish. A lot of people might think I'm just talking in cliches, but that's not true at all. When locals ask me what I like most about Canada, I usually say the beautiful natural environment and friendly people here. I Maybe it's because I live in London, a mid-sized city with population of 400,000. This is completely different from the negative stories I saw online. And here, people's friendliness is not just for show, it's genuine. For example, once I was driving out of my apartment garage, and a gentleman parked at the entrance of the garage got out of his car to swipe his card and open the gate for me. I could have easily done it myself from my window, but he went out of his way to be kind. And another time, when we were charging our car at a station near our apartment, I was holding my baby and waiting for the charge to finish. It was a bit hot outside. At that time, a gentleman passing by asked whether I need some water. I said no. I told him I live nearby. He walked away, but 5 minutes later, he came back from his office with two bottles of ice water for us. Then he got into his sports car and left. I realized that he had actually finished his work and just went back to his office to bring us some water. When we were traveling in Quebec, we were taking a selfie at a tourist spot, and three young girls just came back. And I thought they were asking me to take a photo of them, but instead they offered to take a photo of us. And another slightly funny thing just happened 2 weeks ago in Stratford. We were pushing the stroller, and my baby just got upset and kept crying. It's hard to stop it, so my husband picked him up and walked ahead quickly. And he is trying to calm him down while I push the stroller behind, creating some distance between us. Then a young guy on a bike passed by and asked me, "Is that your baby up there?" I answered, yes, confused. Then he said, oh, okay, then left. Then I realized he thought someone might be taking my baby and I was chasing him. The guy was not only kind but also brave, ready to help if needed. Lastly, I want to say wherever I go, apartment buildings, restaurants, supermarkets, and shopping malls, almost everyone holds the door for me, letting me go first. It's really rare to find someone who doesn't. When driving, if a car wants to change lanes or just merge from a side street, people almost always let them in. This is something unimaginable in my previous 35 years of life, where people would force their way into another lane and feel proud of it. And many even blamed others not let them in a collision. I personally experienced this kind of situation before. A few years ago, Games of Thrones was incredibly popular, but I didn't get the hype. It's about power struggles and scheming against each other. When I moved to Canada, I realized that these mind-blowing stories are fascinating to people here because where I come from, almost every office and community could write their own version of A Song of Ice and Fire. This made me think what drives our society to have most of its people striving to do good? Is it religion? Most major religions do teach kindness and morality, but looking at history and the current world, a lot of conflicts and wars stem from religious differences, especially in a multicultural place like Canada. Maintaining internal harmony is tough because monotheistic religions don't acknowledge other gods. So resolving religious conflicts need to come from outside religion. If there was a large, more powerful organization that could fairly and transparently resolve international disputes, I believe conflicts would decrease by at least 95%. There are many successful cases that prove this is possible in human society. That is what the rule of the law is about. You might not believe it, but a few years ago, like most people around me, I didn't think a society with transparent laws was possible. We thought it was always the rich and the political elites controlling everything. In 2024, Canada ranked 14th globally for press freedom, which often reflects government integrity, transparency, and fairness. Canada ranks 11th in happiness among OECD countries, just behind the Nordic countries and New Zealand, but ahead of the US and Australia. Since moving to Canada 10 months ago, I've noticed that my happiness level has gone up, thanks to the better natural and cultural environment here. Fairness is definitely one reason for higher happiness levels, but it's not the only one. Another big factor is education. According to Statistics Canada, over 57% of workers aged 25 to 64 have a college or university degree. In 2021, nearly 33% of the working age population, about 6.4 million people, had a bachelor's degree or higher, outpacing other G7 countries. For society to function smoothly, we can't just rely on enforcing fairness. It's also crucial that the citizens voluntarily follow the rules. Maintaining a harmonious social environment is something that we all have to contribute to. Simple acts like yielding when driving or saying sorry first, no matter what the situation is. One famous example is Canada's Apology Act. It states that an apology can be used as an evidence of fault or liability in court. This means that when someone or an organization apologizes, it usually won't have negative legal consequences. I think another reason is that Canadians have a pretty laid back attitude when it comes to work and making money. Imagine living in a place where work is super stressful and traffic jams are a daily thing. How could people stay calm and patient in that environment? Every time I drive into the GTA, I can feel the difference. There's less courtesy, cars follow each other more closely, and the pressure while driving is much higher. I feel the same way when I drive to Montreal. In the service industry, most things are by appointment, and the schedules aren't packed too tightly. People here rarely work under high pressure for long periods. So, I totally understand why doctors and nurses in China sometimes seem unfriendly. It's not usually about disrespect, it's more about the effects of long term stress. But if you go to a smaller community hospital, the staff are often much nicer. Of course, this relaxed pace has its downsides too. It can lead to lower efficiency and income levels might not be as high. But I really enjoy this stress-free environment, especially as a newcomer. I don't have to worry about not knowing all the rules and being criticized for making mistakes. People here are incredibly tolerant. My advice to other new incomers is not to feel too shy. If you don't know something, just ask your people around you. Most of them will be happy to help. So that's how I felt about Canada during these past 10 months. See you next time. Bye.